All right, everyone, today we're diving into a truly inspiring chapter, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. This chapter is taken from Nelson Mandela's autobiography, where he shares his journey from a young boy in South Africa to becoming the first Black president of the country. But this is not just his story. It's the story of a whole nation's struggle for freedom and equality. Apartheid in South Africa. Before we get into Mandela's personal journey, let's understand what was happening in South Africa. For decades, the country was ruled under apartheid, a system of racial segregation where the white minority controlled everything and the Black majority had almost no rights. Imagine living in a world where you couldn't go to certain schools, use certain buses, or even vote, just because of your skin color. That was the reality for Black South Africans. But Mandela and many others refused to accept this injustice. They fought for freedom, democracy, and equality, even when it meant facing jail time or worse. Mandela was born on the 18th of July, 1918, in the village of Mbizo. At first, he didn't realize how unfair the system was. As a child, he thought that racial discrimination was normal because he had never seen anything else. But as he grew older, he began to understand that the white government treated Black people as second-class citizens. His awareness deepened when he saw how Black people were denied basic human rights. He realized that freedom was not just about living without chains, it was about having equal opportunities and dignity. Mandela became a leader in the African National Congress, ANC, fighting against apartheid. But the government saw him as a threat. They arrested him multiple times, and in 1964, he was sentenced to life imprisonment for opposing apartheid. Imagine being locked away for 27 years, cut off from your family, your friends, and the outside world, all because you wanted freedom for your people. But did Mandela give up? No. Even in prison, he remained a symbol of hope. He continued to inspire people to fight for justice. Finally, in 1990, after years of protests and international pressure, Mandela was released. And guess what? Just 4 years later, in 1994, South Africa held its first democratic elections, and Mandela became the country's first Black president. Now let's talk about the most important day, April 10, 1994. This was the day of Mandela's presidential inauguration. Imagine the scene. Leaders from all over the world gathered in Pretoria, the capital of South Africa, to witness history. Mandela stood before his people, knowing that this moment was not just about him. It was about millions of South Africans who had suffered under apartheid. He gave a powerful speech, talking about how freedom had finally come, but reminding everyone that true freedom is not just about removing oppression, but about building a nation of peace and equality. Now here's something important. Mandela believed that no one is born hating another person because of their race, background, or religion. Hatred is taught, but so is love. He said that if people can learn to hate, they can also learn to love. This was his dream, for South Africa to move beyond hatred and towards unity. He also spoke about true freedom. He realized that he wasn't free even after getting an education or a good job because his people were still suffering. According to Mandela, freedom is not just about personal success, it's about making sure that everyone around you is free too. Mandela's story is not just about South Africa, it's a message for the entire world. He teaches us, courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to overcome it. Freedom is meaningless if others are still suffering. Forgiveness is more powerful than revenge. Even after spending 27 years in prison, he didn't seek revenge. Instead, he wanted to unite the country and create a future based on peace, love, and equality. So why do we study this chapter? Because it teaches us about Number 1, leadership, Mandela's journey from a prisoner to a president. Number 2, perseverance, never giving up, even in the toughest situations. Number 3, equality and justice, the importance of fighting against discrimination. Number 4, forgiveness and unity, building a better future without hatred. His life proves that one person can make a difference, and real freedom comes when everyone is treated equally. Now, I have a question for you all. If you had to describe Mandela's legacy in just one word, what would it be? Hope, courage, forgiveness. Think about it, because his story is one that still inspires people around the world today.